What comes to mind when you hear South Africa? Safari, wine, maybe Table Mountain. But what if I told you it's one of the most extreme countries on Earth? A place where the oldest human fossils were found, and where modern cities rise like glass towers against deserts and oceans. Where 11 languages weave through streets alive with history, music, and markets. Where adventure junkies dive with great whites, and daredevils leap from the world's highest commercial bungee. This isn't the South Africa from travel brochures. And this is the South Africa you've never seen. And once you do, it'll stay with you. Let's start at the heart of extremes, where land, people, and stories collide in ways you'll have to see to believe. Land of extremes, where worlds collide. South Africa's story begins with its land, a country of sharp contrasts, where extremes collide at every turn. Imagine standing at the edge of the Kalahari Desert. The red sand stretches endlessly, dry and unyielding under the sun. Yet just a few hundred kilometers away, rainforests and waterfalls pulse with life. This is a place where nature refuses to be ordinary. Take Table Mountain in Cape Town. Over 260 million years old, its flat summit is often shrouded in a tablecloth of clouds, and from its heights, the Atlantic Ocean stretches to the horizon like liquid steel. Hike its trails, and you'll feel the weight of history. Every rock, every fern, every gust of wind a reminder that this land has endured more than most. Below, the city hums, a mixture of colonial architecture and modern glass towers. Now, let's pivot inland to the cradle of humankind, just outside Johannesburg. UNESCO calls it a World Heritage Site for a reason. Some of the oldest hominid fossils ever discovered were found here, dating back over 3 million years. You can almost hear whispers of our ancestors echoing through limestone caves and excavation sites, connecting the distant past with the bustling urban present. Johannesburg itself is a city of extremes, gold rush history, rubbing shoulders with cutting-edge fintech startups, street markets alive with color, and neighborhoods where every corner tells a story. Driving along the Western Cape, you hit Route 62, the longest wine route on Earth, stretching over 850 kilometers. Vineyards spill over valleys like green oceans, mountains rising behind them like silent guardians. But don't let the serenity fool you. Here, adventure waits around every bend. From shark cage diving near Gansbaai to bungee jumping off Bluekran's Bridge, adrenaline junkies find every reason to push the limits. South Africa doesn't do moderation. It does extremes. And then there's wildlife. This is one of the few countries where you can see the Big Five in a single safari. Lions basking in golden light, leopards slinking through brush, elephants thundering across savannas. And if that wasn't enough, penguins waddle along the shores of Boulder's Beach, a reminder that nature loves to surprise. Even the ostrich, Earth's largest bird, can sprint past 70 kilometers per hour. A creature built for extremes, just like the land it calls home. South Africa's extremes aren't just natural, they're cultural too. Eleven official languages create a mosaic of voices, music, and stories. The Rainbow Nation isn't just a nickname, it's a reality, visible in cities, townships, and rural villages alike. And in Cape Town, you can trace history to Dr. Christian Barnard, performing the world's first successful heart transplant in 1967. Proof that this country's extremes touch every field, from biology to architecture to sport. And if you think that's all, just wait. Let me show you South Africa's thriving cities, where urban extremes meet human ingenuity in ways you won't believe. Urban extremes, cities that never sit still. Step into South Africa's cities, and you'll see extremes in motion. Take Johannesburg, often called Joburg or Igolai, the city of gold. Skyscrapers glitter with corporate ambition, while a few streets away, informal markets burst with energy, color, and life. It's a city built on contradictions, wealth and struggle, history and innovation, dust and glass. Walk past Maboneng Precinct, and you'll find street art and rooftop cafes buzzing with tech startups, blending creativity and commerce in a way few cities can match. Pretoria, the executive capital, tells a different story. Boulevards lined with jacaranda trees explode in violet every spring, softening the city's formal government buildings. You can feel authority in the air. The Union buildings, standing like a fortress overlooking the city. But culture thrives here too. Museums, art galleries, and lively markets remind you that politics isn't the only story South Africans live. Then there's Cape Town, perhaps the most extreme city in the country. Nestled between the jagged peaks of Table Mountain and the roaring Atlantic, it's a city of cinematic landscapes. Waterfronts hum with tourists, street performers, and restaurants serving everything from local bobotie to modern fusion cuisine. Yet within a short drive, you can be in the winelands of Stellenbosch or the rugged cliffs of Cape Point, where oceans crash like a symphony against rock. Cape Town doesn't just live on extremes, it celebrates them. Durban brings a completely different vibe. Indian Ocean beaches stretch endlessly, while markets and curry houses showcase the city's Indian influence. Surfing, paragliding, and kite surfing aren't just hobbies here, they're a lifestyle. And when the sun sets, the city pulses with music and nightlife that feel almost limitless. Even the smaller towns are extremes in miniature. Oudtshoorn, home of the ostrich farms, offers the Kango caves nearby, limestone formations older than the pyramids of Egypt, draped in stalactites and stalagmites that seem to reach for eternity. Here, history, nature, and culture collide in ways that feel larger than life, even in a town of just tens of thousands. South Africa's urban extremes aren't just about landscapes. They're about people. In every city, township, and village, you'll find stories of innovation, resilience, and identity. 11 official languages create a rhythm you can hear in street music, in markets, in casual conversations. You'll catch Xhosa clicks in the marketplace, Afrikaans in a coffee shop, English in skyscrapers, and Zulu in the suburbs, all flowing together in an energetic, sometimes chaotic, but always fascinating harmony. And if you think city life is only fast and modern, think again. Cape Town's District 6 whispers stories of apartheid-era displacement. Johannesburg's gold mines echo the triumphs and struggles of miners. Each city holds layers of extremes, waiting to be explored, understood, and experienced. Now, let's leave the cities behind and head into South Africa's wild heart, where deserts, savannas, and oceans converge to create landscapes you'll barely believe exist. Wild extremes, nature that refuses to play small. Step outside the cities, and South Africa's landscapes explode with extremes. The country is a living showcase of contrasts. Deserts that burn under the sun, lush valleys that shimmer after rainfall, and oceans that crash against cliffs with relentless force. Start in Kruger National Park, one of Africa's largest game reserves. Here, you can witness the Big Five roaming freely, lions lounging in golden grass, elephants thundering across plains, rhinos grazing silently, buffaloes forming powerful herds, and leopards slipping through shadows like ghosts. Every safari is different, every encounter unpredictable. Then there's the garden route along the southern coast. In less than a day, you can move from misty mountains to endless beaches, to dense forests dripping with ferns. Storms roll in from the Indian Ocean, painting the skies in shades of gray and violet, while whales breach offshore in a breathtaking spectacle. Adventure isn't optional here. It's built into the landscape. Shark cage diving in Gansbaai is a must for adrenaline junkies. And if you prefer land, Blukran's Bridge offers the highest commercial bungee jump in the world. Only in South Africa can fear and beauty coexist in such close proximity. Heading west, the Kango Caves near Oudtshoorn plunge deep underground. Limestone formations, some over 20 million years old, twist and soar like frozen sculptures. Walking through these narrow passageways, you feel both ancient and alive. A reminder that South Africa's extremes aren't just on the surface, they're carved into the earth itself. Just outside, the ostriches of the Karoo stretch their long necks, running faster than you'd imagine possible. The largest birds on Earth racing across flat plains as if mocking gravity. And let's not forget, the African penguins at Boulders Beach near Cape Town. Yes, penguins. In Africa, tiny, tuxedoed birds waddling along sun-drenched sands, completely at home next to surfers and sunbathers. It's the kind of surreal twist that makes South Africa unforgettable, where extremes collide and nature refuses to follow the rules. Even the skies tell a story. Sunsets here are epic. The desert glows like molten copper, oceans sparkle with fiery streaks, and mountains turn violet as the day folds into night. Birdsong fills the air, from tiny sunbirds to the booming calls of ostriches, creating a symphony that is uniquely South African. But South Africa's extremes aren't only about spectacle. They're about survival. The flora and fauna adapt in ways that seem almost impossible. Succulents storing water for months, predators coordinating with silent precision, and humans finding harmony with the land, from the ancient sand people to modern conservationists. Now, we'll leave the wild behind and dive into the cultural extremes, where people, history, and language create a mosaic as breathtaking and complex as the landscapes themselves. Cultural extremes, the Rainbow Nation in motion. Step into the streets, markets, and townships, and you quickly realize South Africa's extremes aren't just natural, they're human. 11 official languages ripple through daily life: Zulu, Xhosa, Afrikaans, English, and 7 others, each carrying its own rhythm, tone, and story. Walk through Cape Town's neighborhoods, and you'll hear a symphony of voices, some blending effortlessly, some clashing, all painting the vibrant picture of the Rainbow Nation. History leaves its mark everywhere. In Cape Town, District 6 whispers tales of forced removals during apartheid. Johannesburg's gold mines echo stories of miners who built the city with sweat and sacrifice. Museums and monuments across the country preserve these extremes of triumph and tragedy, reminding you that this is a nation constantly reshaping itself. You can feel the tension between past and present, between pain and resilience, in every corner. And yet, the extremes aren't only historical. Modern South Africa pulses with creativity. Street art explodes on city walls. Music, from jazz to kwaito to amapiano, fills every space, and festivals draw communities together in ways that feel both spontaneous and deliberate. Markets like Johannesburg's Neighbor Goods Market or Durban's Victoria Street buzz with scents, colors, and flavors from across the country. Spicy curries, freshly baked breads, and fruits you've never seen before. Every step, every interaction is a lesson in contrast. Old traditions meeting modern innovation, quiet resilience beside loud celebration. Cape Town tells another story. It's the city where Dr. Christian Barnard performed the world's first successful human heart transplant in 1967, a medical feat that made history. Today, the city balances science, tourism, and culture, with beaches, vineyards, and world-class restaurants coexisting beside historic sites and bustling townships. It's a city of paradoxes, extremes that challenge your expectations at every turn. Then there's sport. Rugby, cricket, and soccer aren't just games here. They're national passions. Rugby stadiums roar with energy, reflecting both fierce competition and collective pride. South Africa has won the Rugby World Cup 3 times, 1995, 2007, and 2019, each victory reinforcing a shared identity in a nation of diversity. Sports here are more than entertainment. They're a bridge between communities, a microcosm of South Africa's extremes in one space. Even daily life is layered with extremes, from urban nightlife that stretches until dawn to quiet rural villages where time seems frozen. The pace of life is unpredictable. One moment, you're sipping wine along Route 62. The next, you're learning traditional dance moves from local elders. Each experience feels like a collision of worlds, a reminder that South Africa thrives on contradictions. It's time to move to the extreme adventures and adrenaline that define this land. From the highest bungee jumps to the wildest safaris, where danger and beauty exist side by side. Adrenaline extremes, where fear meets wonder. South Africa isn't just a feast for the eyes. It's a playground for the fearless. If you crave adventure, this country raises the bar higher than almost anywhere else. Take Blukran's Bridge. tucked into the Tsitsikamma Mountains. At 216 meters, it's the highest commercial bungee jump in the world. Standing on that edge, wind in your face, the forest floor far below, it's impossible not to feel alive. And if you survive the jump, you'll probably want to do it again. Then there's the ocean. The waters off Gansby are famous for one thing: great white sharks. Cage diving here isn't a gimmick, it's an adrenaline test. You're in a metal cage, heart pounding, as one of the ocean's top predators glides past, jaws open. There's fear, awe, and an odd sense of intimacy with a creature that dominates its world. South Africa doesn't just offer adventure, it demands respect. For those who prefer land-based thrills, the Drakensberg Mountains call. Hiking trails wind through jagged peaks, waterfalls, and cliffs that drop into misty valleys. You can climb steep rock faces, traverse narrow ridges, or follow ancient sand rock art, evidence that humans have challenged these extremes for millennia. Adventure here isn't optional. It's written into the landscape. Even wildlife encounters are extreme. Safari drives through Kruger or Addo Elephant Park aren't like zoos. You're shoulder to shoulder with predators and giants. Elephants knocking down trees, lions hunting silently, and cheetahs sprinting faster than any car can manage. Every sighting carries tension, unpredictability, and awe. South Africa's wildlife doesn't just exist. It commands your attention. And adventure doesn't stop at natural extremes. Route 62, the world's longest wine route, doubles as a road trip playground. Vineyards, mountains, and deserts stretch for over 850 kilometers. Stop in small towns to sip award-winning wines, taste local cheeses, or meet farmers whose families have lived here for generations. Even slow adventures carry the thrill of discovery. Extreme sports, natural beauty, and raw adrenaline are part of the country's DNA, but so is balance. After a day of bungee jumps or shark dives, you can unwind in Cape Town, listening to the waves, or sip a glass of pinotage while watching a sunset over the winelands. South Africa teaches you extremes are better experienced side by side. Fear and beauty, danger and peace, the wild and the civilized. And if you think this is the end, there's still one more extreme to explore. A final reflection on why South Africa is the most extreme country on Earth, where nature, culture, and adventure collide in ways that challenge every sense and expectation. The ultimate extreme. Why South Africa defies expectations. After deserts, cities, mountains, and oceans, you start to understand why South Africa is called the most extreme country on Earth. It's not just the scenery, or the wildlife, or the adrenaline sports. It's the way extremes coexist, collide, and complement each other. One moment, you're watching penguins waddle on sunlit beaches. The next, lions stalk the savannah nearby. One day, you're sipping fine wine on Route 62. The next, you're plummeting off the world's highest bungee jump. It's a country that doesn't know the meaning of moderation. Look closer, and you see extremes in people too. 11 languages, dozens of cultures, centuries of history. Yet there's a resilience, a creativity, a rhythm that ties it all together. From the gold mines of Johannesburg to the vibrant streets of Durban, from Cape Town's District 6 to rural villages tucked into mountains, South Africans navigate contradictions with grace, humor, and an unstoppable energy. Every neighborhood, every township, every city has a story that pushes boundaries, blending past and future, tradition and innovation. Even the natural world refuses to settle. Table Mountain's flat summit, covered in a shifting tablecloth of clouds, overlooks a city alive with contrasts. The Kango Caves hold 20-million-year-old limestone formations, while nearby ostriches sprint across open plains like living reminders that size, speed, and survival all demand attention. Whales breach offshore, great whites patrol the waters, and elephants roam freely in vast parks. Extremes exist not as anomalies, but as the baseline of life here. And adventure, South Africa's adrenaline factor, is everywhere. Shark cage diving, bungee jumping, surfing, hiking, safaris. These aren't rare experiences. They're woven into the fabric of the country. The thrill of fear, the awe of beauty, and the joy of discovery are constant companions. South Africa doesn't just offer stories. It delivers experiences that you feel in your bones. But perhaps the most extreme thing about this country is perspective. You start to realize that extremes aren't just about spectacle. They're about learning, understanding, and respecting differences. Whether it's culture, language, wildlife, or geography, every extreme teaches something. Patience, courage, curiosity, and humility become your guides, and the country becomes more than a place. It becomes an education in contrasts. South Africa doesn't ask you to adapt. It dares you to notice, participate, and be amazed. It's a nation of contradictions, challenges, and wonders that leave no sense untouched. And by the time you leave, you realize the truth. No single photo, video, or story can capture it fully. You have to live it, step into it, and let it change the way you see extremes. South Africa is more than a country. It's a collision of worlds, a symphony of contrasts, and a reminder that life, when lived at its edges, is breathtaking. And once you experience it, you'll never see extremes or the world the same way again. So, what is South Africa really? It's not just a country you visit. It's a place that stays with you, a land that balances extremes, the wild and the civilized, the ancient and the modern, the serene and the untamed. You come chasing lions, mountains, and oceans. But what you remember are the people. The winemaker in Stellenbosch, tending vineyards passed down for generations. The Zulu dancer, moving with a rhythm older than history itself. The Cape Town artist, painting penguins on beaches and skyscrapers in the same frame. Because in South Africa, progress doesn't erase the past. It stands beside it. Here, time doesn't flow in a straight line. It loops from 3-million-year-old hominid fossils in the cradle of humankind to the neon lights of Johannesburg's tech hubs, from the roar of an elephant on safari to the quiet hum of a fisherman on the wild coast. And as you leave, you realize South Africa isn't just a country of extremes. The landscapes, the wildlife, and the adventures were only the first chapter. The real story is life itself, vivid, unexpected, unapologetic, because this is a country that refuses to be simplified. It's not Table Mountain, Not the deserts, not the wine routes, not the beaches. It's the space between them, where fear meets beauty, where past meets future, where humans meet the wild. That's South Africa. Not a destination, a revelation.